Yo and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector. It's another Sunday night, another time to just get together and do some chatting, and baseball's back. Hopefully, baseball is back. We're really hoping that we're going to have some baseball. We're going to talk through that a little bit, me and some guests tonight. And let's just bring them on now so we can start talking. Let's see, who's first? Ty. What's up, Ty?
What's up? How are you?
Ty of Breaker Culture and a member of the Bench Clear Media Network. And then a YouTube Hall of Famer, the one and only Joe Silver Jackify.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Woo!
All
Hopefully
right,
everyone's got their dollhouses out.
That's such a beautiful house.
How was your weekend, Joe?
It was good. It was nice and relaxing. Some good weather. You know, finally getting out of the house a little bit. Went to a restaurant. It was very exciting with my dad, who's been on my channel a couple of times.
Did you sit outside, or did you get to go in?
We did. They had like a little tent. So it was all outdoors. It was nice. But you have to wear a mask. You go in, you sit down, and then you can take your mask off. That was the highlight of my weekend.
Taking your mask off?
That's what it's come to.
Yeah.
I actually have to wear one tomorrow for the first time. So.
Damn. Is that for work?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the club.
Mark wants to know how long our show is going to be on. We don't know. As long as we have something interesting to talk about, and if you don't watch it live, you can come catch it on the replay later.
What's Mark shopping for, man? Come on.
I know he's
going to be shopping for at 7:30 on Sunday night.
No doubt. eBay, I guess.
Can't you multitask?
No doubt,
man.
Todd, did you have a good weekend?
We did. Yeah.
Did you win any baseball tournaments with your kids?
We didn't play this weekend. It's kind of boring. We did yard work. I was telling you, we did yard work. It's I need to get back to baseball quick. I can't do yard work for more than a day.
No yard work. Joe, do y'all have yards in New Jersey, or is everything concrete? I can't remember.
No, it's all concrete. Yeah, we have yards.
I've seen your backyard. I've seen you.
You realize I do live in the Garden State, so.
Touche.
Yeah, we have gardens, and we have. My wife planted some strawberry plants about a month ago, and who knows? There might be like a strawberry or two that'll sprout. So.
I love this comment. What? We have to wear masks? Are you kidding?
So good.
That is great.
So good. We're just talking about Cam Newton tonight, right? That's the big news.
Yeah, he just signed with the Patriots, right?
I saw his rookies like selling out all over. ComC, Star Stock. They're all just everyone's sucking them dry.
Sucker bet. That's a sucker bet.
I had no idea.
We will learn a few things this year. Is it the system? Or is it Tom Brady, i.e., right? Because, but by the way, that's if there's football. So let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
But if Tom Brady leads the Bucs to the, even deep into the playoffs, you'll go, wow, okay, Tom Brady's got something. Because otherwise, the Bucs suck. It'll be interesting. But
would Tom Brady cards go higher if he went to another Super Bowl on another team?
Yes.
Or are that really? You think so?
Yes.
You think even his Patriot cards would go higher? I mean, they're so stinking high, man. It's unreal.
It is pretty dumb.
Cheers to that.
How much have you been drinking today already, Joe?
It's Jack and Coca-Cola.
No, how much have you had already today?
A couple of drinks. It was a nice pool day,
Yeah.
Days outside, it's a good day.
Have you had have you had Jack Daniel's honey yet? Have you tried that?
Not tonight, but yes.
I like it. I tried it this weekend for the first time. I know it's been around a while, but
you guys ever tried this Costco sparkling water?
Don't drink too many of those, Ty. You got to.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we can have him on the show.
I know. Hey, man, I was the only one with an IPA last week. Everyone else was sipping foo-foo drinks. I don't want to hear it.
Are they? I wonder if are they a sponsor of Bench Clear? Costco? Are they a sponsor?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Sponsored by Costco Sparkling Water.
Signature. That's right.
Well, let's talk about a little baseball because baseball is back.
Woo!
All right, so here's the facts. We got a 60-game season. We've got DH in both leagues. We've got spring training starting in just a few days, I suppose, now. The season's scheduled to start late July, right?
Week before NBA.
And it's going to be crazy. 60 games. First of all, what do you think about – we'll go around the horn here. What do you think about the number of games, the rule changes, the extra innings? There's going to be a guy on second, all these things. Are you excited? What do you think? What are your just initial thoughts? Ty, what do you think?
At this point, I will take anything. I would have taken whatever they would have given. But I like it, man. I like the 60 games. I like the extra DH. Let's speed up the extra innings. I mean, there's nothing there that I look at and I think, man, I'm so disappointed. But I feel like I was so deprived. I didn't really care what they gave us.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm with Ty. I'm happy with anything. Like I said, Mike, I'm cautiously optimistic. Just hoping that they, definitely still. I think it was July 23rd or 24th that the games are supposed to start, and I'll take anything at this point.
Yeah.
It's been a long couple of months of just nothing to watch on TV. I've been watching a lot of YouTube, a lot of other channels and stuff, but not a lot of sports, unfortunately. So, the most exciting thing, what's driving prices sometimes is documentaries, which is insane.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like stuff that happened 20 years ago. We're like, what?
Right.
Buy that card.
Wait, how much did we talk about that McGuire Sosa 30 for 30 documentary? It was an hour. We talked about it for like a month. Like it was the most exciting thing that was ever going to happen, and then it kind of came and went. And you were like, okay, that was kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, I'm super excited.
Can you imagine how many people are going to be watching that first week of games with literally no other sports on? I mean, everyone's going to be watching baseball games.
Yeah, I love it that, baseball finally got their act together, because this is such a great opportunity for baseball to, be front and center. I guess it's only for a week, but, but it is good for the sport.
Will there be any do you think fans will hold it against either the owners, the players, or both for the basically bickering that's been going back and forth for a while, trying to get this figured out? Do you think there will be any hangover from that and people going, screw those, got millionaires fighting with billionaires, screw those guys?
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I think they did a poll on ESPN actually about that specific topic, and most people don't care. And my guess is the people that do care probably don't really like baseball anyway. So, as long as they have a season and they have a champion, I think what hurt them in '94 was the fact that they started the season and they never finished it.
Agreed.
And that really, if you put your money and your time into a team, and then you just one day you go and then you pull the rug from under them, it's really and while the optics of what happened with baseball is really bad, a lot of people do kind of understand the situation. Even if they start July 23rd, 24th, there's still some people like, should they even be playing? I have some concerns. I was thinking about today, what if, you have a team that's in the playoff hunt and then 10 people on the team get coronavirus? So it's just, there's a lot of unknowns with it. So it's kind of, while it looks bad, I don't think anyone's going to walk away from the sport because of the craziness. This whole year has been crazy.
Yeah, everyone gets a pass. I feel like if there's any year they get a pass, it's this year.
Yeah.
So I was listening to a podcast on my way home today in the car. Mike O and Westergriff were talking about kind of along this topic idea. And Ed brought up a good point. He said, with 60 games, every game matters. It's a lot more like football, right? I mean, you're going to have a condensed season. I read an article today on CBS Sports showing teams from the last few years that at the 60 game mark were in the playoffs and then faltered, as the season progressed. So to me, every team has like right now, you can say there's no team that's out of, you can't even say the Orioles can't win the division or can't win a wild card. And I haven't even heard, have you all heard if they actually expanded the playoffs or if they were just talking about it?
They did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd heard a rumor that they were looking at expanding the playoffs and allowing more teams in, which would make it even more crazy, right? So, but right now, legitimately, all 30 teams have a chance to win the World Series. And you could not say that any other year. The best teams rise to the top. You're going to have, the Yankees. I hate to say it, the Yankees, but, the Red Sox, the Dodgers,
That's right.
Why am I acting like Johnny Manziel?
But and you have teams that were terrible at it all matters how you start it. So do y'all agree with that idea that teams are in it from the beginning and it's going to be very interesting? Or
yeah, I was actually looking at this morning. So you think of 100-win team as a team that's dominant, right? A team that wins 100 games in a 162-game season. If you're looking at a 60-game season, that's the equivalent would be winning 37 games. So if you win 37 games, that would be the equivalent of winning 100 games this year, because considering there's only 60. But, I mean, that's all it takes is win 37 games. Any team can go on a nice hot streak and, surprise and just shock the world this year. That's the cool part.
Yeah. I also think because of that, spring training is going to be intense because teams want to go into the season like on fire. I bet you we see some intense games for the first 3 weeks of spring training.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Also, there's certain like players that tend to start the year off hot, and then there's players that tend to start the year off cold. And it'll be interesting to see if there's players that really struggle in the beginning of the season, if that if they just never recover, or if all it takes is a couple of good weeks, and now all of a sudden you're in the running for MVP.
Right.
It's going to be insane.
So who do you think has the advantage, the pitchers or the hitters when it comes to the shortened season?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess my first thought would be the pitchers, because I know that there's a lot of talk about teams wanting to, because it's a short season and because your starters, you only need them a couple of times this year. Maybe you only start your starters for like 4 or 5 innings and then throw a bunch of like 1-inning relief at you. In which case it's going to be even tougher for the hitters because it's going to be like a playoff game every game. It's going to be like they're going to be throwing their best pitchers at you. It's like, if a guy's not pitching well, you're not going to have him throw 7 innings. You're going to pull him after 4. So I could see it being, the ERAs even being lower this year because every game's going to be played tight like a playoff game.
Yeah. So scientifically, when is it harder to hit home runs? Is that it's in the middle? The winters, the colder months are harder, right? So we're starting the season in the middle of the summer. So
yeah,
the ball technically flies farther, right? But would that make a difference? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that the hitters have a distinct advantage because of what you're saying, Joe. Mm-hmm. Because pitchers are going to be, you got expanded rosters, right? And so you're going to, which teams are going to use to add pitchers, but you're adding are you adding quality arms? You're adding more arms.
Yeah.
But you're diluting the pitching staff, and you say, well, any guy can come in and get 3 outs. Well, not necessarily. And, there are a lot of guys that would be at AA or AAA as middle relievers are now going to be forced to pitch to major league hitters. And I think hitters can start, you can go into slumps, but hitters can hit, and pitchers can struggle. I think the hitters have a distinct advantage. I think we're going to see some crazy things happen this year hitter wise, because I think I've talked to you both privately about this, but I think this really has an advantage for older veteran players, because they don't have to worry about the arduous grind of 162 6-game 6-month season. They get to I'm going balls to the wall for 2 months, and Albert Pujols might hit 40 home runs in 60 games, or just Nelly Cruz. I'm thinking of older guys that are just wearing down, and now they don't have to worry about it. They can just go nuts. And that's not true for pitchers, because if you are a pitcher and you throw out your arm and you have to have Tommy John surgery, you're not going to risk that for a 60-game season. But these older veteran players that genuinely have nothing to lose can just go balls to the wall. I think we're going to see a guy hit 400 this year. So let's say that happens. Oh, look, I can see a hitter hitting 400 this season. Great minds think alike. I mean, obviously, everybody would know that's not over a real season.
Right.
How do you treat the records if any records are broken?
Throw them out. You throw the records out.
That seems a little harsh.
Remember that one year when John Olerud was hitting it like 400, like about the All-Star break?
Yeah.
He would have loved the 60-game season that year.
Yeah.
He'd be the last 400 hitter, possibly.
There's plenty of guys. There's guys like Luis Soho who can hit 400 over up 2 months.
Luis Soho.
Remember Luis Soho?
Yeah, I remember Luis Soho.
But I'm just saying, anybody can get hot. Every year there's guys that over a 60-game stretch hit over 400.
Right.
So there are a bunch of guys that do that. So
any particular guys that you like, I'm sure there's, with all the baseball collectors on the chat, is there any particular players that you guys are bullish on this year?
Yeah, who do you think is the most likely player to hit 400 during this 60-game abbreviated season? Crazy Kev. No one's going to hit here. No one's going to hit 73 bombs. That's true.
My money's on Alberto Mondesi. No, I'm going Francisco Lindor. That's my surprise player. Him and Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I like Ohtani. I like Ohtani a lot this year for MVP.
Yeah.
Probably.
Will he pitch and hit, do you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, I should say, I would assume he would. Either they're talking about his arms being ready.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Mike Trout wins American League.
Wow, that's dark horse, man. You're really going on.
I like to just put myself out there, so I'm going to say Mike Trout for MVP this year. But also really, I think he will. I think he'll have an. I like to look at betting odds a lot, and one of the things I saw before the season started is he was like. They were basically the Vegas was basically saying you could either take Mike Trout or the field on the MVP. So if you're gonna say who's gonna win the MVP,
that's a great point.
Two guys. But speaking of Vegas, the two rookies of the year this year, the predictions at plus 200 is. Lewis Robert in the American League at like plus 225, and Gavin Lux at like plus 165 or something like that. So,
first off, it's Luis Robert, Joe.
Is it Luis Robert?
Correctly.
He came out and said what his name is.
Oh, okay. Because I was saying Luis Robert, and then people corrected me to Luis Robert.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. No, it's that's crazy. So him and Gavin Lux are same odds. I'm surprised Bichette not up there.
Gavin Lux has better odds.
Wow.
Gavin, yeah, and then the guy that's closest to Luis Robert is Jesus Luzardo was at like plus 400 or something like that.
Pitcher for the A's, right?
Yeah, pitcher for the A's.
Wow.
So if you guys, the only reason why I bring that up is because a lot of baseball card guys out there, and I know Series 2 just came out with Luis Robert is in there, so that's the card you're chasing, and then from Series 1 you're chasing Gavin Lux if you're going to go with the wise guys.
Well, here's a question, bringing it back to the hobby. Look, we all know Luis Robert is going to be on the White Sox roster, but he hasn't played in a game yet. You're not supposed to have an official Major League Baseball card with the rookie card logo until you've appeared in a Major League game.
Yeah. Aquino was in Series 1, right? And
yeah.
Has he played? I don't know.
Yeah, he played. He hit like 30 bombs last year, I think. Come on, Joe.
I don't follow the Reds very closely.
There's only about 7 people that do. You're good.
Nobody follows the Reds. Okay, so
did Gavin? I guess Gavin Lux. I don't know, but yeah, Luis Robert definitely hasn't played a game.
Right. Yeah. So he's already got a flagship Topps card, which he's had Bowman cards, and stuff like that, and prospect cards, all kinds of prospect cards, but.
Well, he had an opening day card, right? I mean, he's like got 4 rookies already floating out there, which is crazy.
Yeah. There you go, Joe. They put you on 87 Topps, your custom card, and you still haven't been in a game either. So you've got your rookie.
That's true. That's true. I'm starting to run out of custom cards.
Are you?
Yeah, it's starting to become limited.
You started giving them away to grandmas at the grocery store, or what? I can imagine anyone else would.
Yeah, even grandma was like, "No thanks, no thanks, no thanks." Like, please, grandma, take it. Nobody will take my custom.
It's tough in the COVID-19 world, man. You can't even give cards away these days.
No, I know, and it's like, and Mike and I try to give away my card, and like. You figure people would want the top loader at least, but
right.
I don't know.
No free top loader even. What would be hilarious if somebody picks up your card? Because Joe, Ty, I think I've told you this. Joe and I do a gag every time we're together. We'll drop his custom card somewhere, whether it's the concourse at Yankee Stadium or the National, and we'll throw it on the ground and nobody will pick it up. It's hilarious. Nobody ever picks it up. But if they did, it'd be hilarious if somebody picked it up, looked at the card, you could hear him mouth, who the hell is this or something like that. Take the card out, throw it away, and keep the top loader. That would be the most epic. Right.
That would be awesome.
Thing ever.
Take the top loader, leave the card.
Yeah. That would be fun. Oh my gosh. Oh, Triple Crown. That's a great idea in terms of somebody could win the Triple Crown this year, I think, too.
Yep.
And that would be legit. I think, look, the players can't help how many games there are, right? I always thought this about when they tried to give Maris an asterisk for the home run record. It's not his fault. They scheduled 162 games. That's how many games were in the season.
Have you guys seen how the schedule is going to work yet?
It's very.
I haven't looked at it too close. No.
So the way it's going to work, I was just looking at it today, and so the way it's going to work is, so there's 60 games, obviously, and so like let's say the Yankees, what they'll do is they'll play 10 games against each team within their division, so that's 40 games. So they'll play 10 against the Red Sox, 10 against the Blue Jays, 10 against the Rays, and 10 against the Orioles. Then what's going to happen is that they're going to play 4 games apiece against the NL East teams. So they'll play 4 against the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies, and who am I missing? But that's basically
the Marlins.
The Marlins, yeah. So that all the games for the Yankees will be in the East, and then the Central will play all the teams from the Central, and So, your team will not play anybody from the Central, depending on, what division you're in. You won't play anybody outside of your region. So then the question is like, who has the toughest region, based on that. And I think it's clearly the East. The East is going to be the toughest region, in my opinion, by far. I don't know what you could argue Central or West from there, but I think the East will definitely be the toughest region to win out of.
But doesn't that? I mean, they're all playing each other, so it's not like you can say the Yankees,
right.
the AL East beat up on the weak AL West, or whatever. Yep. You're going to win your division by beating your division opponents.
Right.
Yeah. So there is some kind of, and normally it's already a front loaded, or a top heavy schedule towards your division anyway. Mm-hmm. But now it's exclusively your division and some interleague games just to spice up ratings, I guess, or whatever. But it's to keep it regional is why they did that, right?
Right. Yep.
They're not traveling as much.
Less travel. Yeah, exactly.
How are they doing that then? Are they doing 4-game series or 2-game series? What are they doing there?
I don't think that any of the schedule's out yet.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's just sort of like that's how it's going to be structured.
Okay.
I heard that the Yankees are going to play the Nationals to open the season, but I don't think that there's been any detail about what happens after that. So just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, crazy. Kev confirms.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Any other players that you think just have a chance to kill it this year, given the abbreviated number of games?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I don't know why, but I think I could see Bryce Harper having a big season this year for some reason. I don't know why, but that's just a gut feeling. But I know he's tends to start off the season kind of hot. So I'm thinking about guys that start the season hot that could, just do it again. I know Chris Bryant tends to start hot. I remember it was a couple years ago where he was just killing it in spring training. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like when he was a rookie, he hit 7 bombs in spring training.
Yep.
And then Ty mentioned Shohei Ohtani. I think he could have a big year. But it'd be interesting. If I don't have the stats in front of me, but it'd be interesting to see guys that start the year off hot. If there's some, guys like that would be interesting to me that might have big years, just because if they usually start off hot. I remember Teixeira was one of those guys that was always incredibly cold to start the season. It was just you would sometimes wait months for him to get going. So he'd be a kind of guy I'd be really worried about. Guys that just can't get going. They just need some. But then again, part of it might be because of maybe the cold weather and once it warms up, some hitters get better. So who knows? We're going to start in hot weather. So who knows? Maybe that's irrelevant. Some of the hotter starts.
Yeah. I'm going to give you guys some stats that are interesting. Over a 60-game stretch, MLB went back and did kind of the best periods ever during 60 games. The best batting average in the last decade over any 60-game stretch was Josh Hamilton, and he hit 427 in 2010 over 60 games. The most hits was 103 over 60 games, 103 hits in just 60 games. Jose Altuve did that. Ichiro has the record, by the way. He did it. He had 121 hits over a 60-game stretch. Guess how many home runs over a 60-game stretch has ever, in the last decade, who it is?
The most home runs over the last decade?
Any 60-game stretch.
Wow. Stanton?
Yep. Giancarlo Stanton, 33. So,
dang. And
the all-time leader is 37 by Barry Bonds in 60 games. So, if you think, and I'm telling you guys, we're going to hear this so many times. We're going to be sick of hearing this. If you extrapolate that out over 162 game season,
exactly.
they could have had X number of whatevers, right? So, if somebody hits 30 bombs in 60 games, you can't say they would have hit 94 home runs or whatever that comes out to, right? I mean, we're going to hear it a lot. I just think we're just going to hear so people can equate it to a normal season. They can say, 30 home runs in 60 games equals this many homers in 162 games or whatever. We're going to hear that a lot, but
go ahead.
No, I was going to say those back pages. He mentioned Juan Soto. I think he's going to have a huge year this year.
Yep. Yeah, I was just going to say the guys like that who've had Hobby Love or have Hobby Love now that can go crazy. Guys like Chris Bryant, like you said, Bellinger, Yelich, Mookie Betts, Eloy Jimenez. Those guys who can go crazy for 60 games could just shoot through the roof in prices. Be fun to watch. It's gonna make like the marketplace really fun. Like prices will be changing like NBA games.
And if you're smart, you sell when they're hot and you buy when they're cold.
Yep.
Because people are going to overreact this year to like some guy's going to hit 10 home runs and lead the league. And people are going to overreact and start spending incredible amounts of money stupidly on car. Like I don't know if you guys saw this. Like I'm sure somebody in the chat's seen this, but apparently there's so Series 2 Topps is out. And for whatever reason, the short print of Andrew McCutchen is going for like $300 right now. Like,
oh yeah, it's a regular short print, not even a super short print.
Like, who's paying $300 for an Andrew McCutchen short print?
It's a great photo.
My daughter's down here with me. Hello.
Hello.
It's a cool dollhouse you got there.
It's my doll.
Those are cards. Those are her cards.
That's funny.
That's Mike, and that's Ty.
Hello.
Like, what are you guys doing?
We're talking about baseball, your daddy's favorite sport.
Yeah. You want to talk about baseball with us? No.
You have millions of people watching you right now. What do you want to say?
Millions. Even Mr. Fisherbike is watching.
Wait, what?
I agree, Mr. Fisherbike, though. I think that McCutchen card is awesome. It's not $300 awesome, but it's an awesome card.
Why? Why is that $300? Like,
it's just a cool photo, man. It's just unique.
You are nuts, man.
They said he tweeted about it. That McCutchen tweeted about it on his Twitter.
Is that why?
I'm just telling you what's in the chat. I'm just reading. So
I don't know.
Goodbye.
All right. Thanks for. There's the cameo.
What about the hobby? I mean, we've been so bloodthirsty for baseball to happen. Top Series 2 just hit the shelves. We're going to have a Topps update, they've said. We've got most of the high-end products still haven't even come out, right? So do you think the card market is elevated from baseball comes back to normal, and what there might be a new normal? So I'm not trying to say what normal is. What do you think about that for the market?
I think this is a classic case, like you just said, Joe. This is big time sell the news. Like, we're going to have a bunch of hype, and I think a month in, you're going to regret not selling the news in a lot of cases. I mean, Series 2 is a great example, right? Jumbo's 220, Hobby was 110 at release with one quality rookie in the product. Like, my goodness, what the heck, man? I mean, I know it's dropped, 10, 15% this week, but my goodness. Retail you can't even find on the shelves. Like, it's going to come back to normal. There's just no way. There's not enough money.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think it's going to. I'm not that I'm saying anything really crazy here. Is that like some of the '80s stuff will probably slow down a little bit. We've seen that just skyrocket over the last couple of months because people have nothing else to put their money into, and now that once once the modern stuff, once the players start playing again and people can start gambling on current players, you'll see all the money now go towards the modern players. And you just like I said, keep a very close eye. I mean, if you guys are looking to sell any cards, I mean, you won't see a better opportunity than a guy that just, has one good week where he hits like 3 home runs. His cards will double and you could sell them and then they'll come back down like a week later.
And then it'll be
insane. It's going to be insane. It's going to be fun. Hopefully people don't get caught with, sort of like another Project 2020 where you sell and then it doubles and then drops a week later. That's the only thing that scares me. Like, a lot of just crappy people out there that are just in it from the investment perspective. So that's what scares me about this 60 game season, because everything's going to be so like over hyped, like every home run is going to be it's going to drive the market.
Yeah.
The guy has one good week and his card will double. So just be careful.
I think that speaking of Project 2020, I think it's going to be literally an afterthought in the hobby in a month, because
it already is.
Yeah.
It's a gimmick thing anyway, right? And look, I own the cards. I'm not saying I don't like some of them. I'm just saying that hobby-wise, it's always what's next, what's the newest thing, what's the latest and greatest, and that is about to become because Topps is going to flood, and Panini is going to put out all their shit, and Topps is going to flood with all their products they've been holding back and delaying. You're going to have multiple products released every week during the baseball. It's going to be insane. People are going to absolutely forget about Topps Project 2020. The print runs are going to plummet, as they've already started to do, relatively speaking. And what did I think of the Ermsey Brett? I bought an Ermsey Brett, by the way, because I thought it was cool.
Same here.
But I bought it because I wanted the card, not because I thought anything about what it's going to be worth. I mean, I just think some of them are cool. I loved the Ermsey Brett because I think Ermsey is doing a style. I hate talking about this, but it's
tell us about your art taste.
I just like how his cards are staying pretty true to the original, and they're just kind of quirky enough to be weird. And he's not doing something completely different in terms of not changing the whole way the card looks. And yeah, like they're saying, there's still almost 300 cards still to come out. It's ridiculous. But it's going to be a joke by the end of in a month. So
yeah, I was talking to a friend, like a college friend of mine that just got back into the hobby. And I don't know if you guys have had friends that have recently got back into the hobby. It seems like when people get back in, the first thing they do is they just buy a lot of packs. And so he's like, I've tried to tell him, like, don't buy packs, but he keeps doing it. And he goes to Target and Walmart, and it's gotten to the point where it's like a drug, where he goes and, he like knows the Walmart manager, and he's like talked to him, and he like knows what time the Excel rep's going to show up and stuff. And I'm like, and I guess there was some guy, he was telling me in a text today that he was at Walmart and some guy like piled up his cart with Series 2, like he got a whole cart full of it. And then he talked to the customer, and the customer gave him a couple of boxes, like, all right, you could have a couple. He hooked him up with, I was like, what is going, people are going crazy. And you guys just mentioned it. There's like one good rookie in the set. Like, people are just completely lost their minds. It's been one of the strangest, like, it's honestly like one of the strangest times I've ever seen in the hobby. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of scary at the same time. I don't know what to make of it, but it is crazy. I haven't been to a Walmart or a Target since COVID-19, so
good for you.
My distance.
I went to our Target the other day to see if I could find some Bowman mega boxes, not because I wanted to open them, but I wanted to buy them and then sell them. It was like there was no card section. I mean, it was so wiped out. It was absolutely ridiculous. You could find some MLB stickers, the Topps MLB sticker cards.
Yeah. So they left them for the kids.
That was about it. And you're right. It's crazy. So let me ask you both this question. With baseball restarting, we know how crazy it's been. What happens to vintage prices? Because they're still going, it's still driving me nuts having to pay what I'm paying for vintage cards. Does that continue, or does this slow that down? What do y'all think?
I'll let you go, Joe.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a while now. I think that there's a lot of people getting back into the hobby. I expect it to keep going up. Actually, maybe I'm wrong, but I see too many people getting back into it. And unfortunately, so for some of the people that might be good news, and some people that might be really bad news. I think that it's only inevitable that we're going to see the vintage cards jump as much as we've seen the 80s cards jump. In which case, vintage cards, which the way I look at it is, pre-1980, I guess. Everyone has a different definition of vintage, but I actually think vintage cards are at a bargain right now compared to what we've seen. I was looking at sold, a purchase list, purchases that I did over the last year or two, just like through my eBay history. And I'm like, what I would do to go back like a year. Like, I wish I could go into a time machine and buy cards at the prices that they were a year or two ago. And if I really thought that some of these cards were going to plummet, I would sell them, but I don't think that they're going to. I think, I do think that there will be a crash at some point. I just don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think that Topps will probably end up cause some of it. They'll probably, I think what's going to end up happening is they're going to just, right now they can't print enough. Everything that they put out there just gets snapped up right away. But you know how Topps is, or any company, they'll just keep making more until the point where, supply is higher than demand. And then once they do that, they'll probably shoot themselves in the foot, and then it'll just, all it takes is one domino to fall, and then, other dominoes will fall and cards will come back down. But not anytime soon right now. There's just too many people getting back into the hobby. So
yeah, I talked about that in my last podcast. I feel like the manufacturers know what's inevitable, and what they're doing is they're squeezing the supply chain, right? They're kind of making sure too much product doesn't get out, and they're holding some back. They're sending it through different distributors just to make sure it leaks out slowly. Although they're printing just as much, if not more, of every product, it's just not hitting the market as quick. So it's creating this false idea of a supply issue. I'm not a vintage guy, so I can't really speak to kind of how vintage would be played. But I mean, my whole argument is there's only so much disposable income. Like, it's not limitless disposable income for people, right? Like, it's going to go back into DFS. It's going to go back into gambling, sports gambling, period, right? I mean, it's going to probably go back out of the market. It's got all these variables that we don't know. It's like at some point, everything can't keep going up. It's going to be a little bit more selective. You're going to have to pick and choose the right things.
Yep.
So I'm with you, Joe, in terms of, I wish I could go back a few years and buy cards. Even stuff that we saw at the National last year, I wish I could go back and go, God, I should have bought that freaking card, because now it's twice what it was then. Right. I've been saying that, and I think it's going to only be that way. Next year, we'll say, oh, man, I wish I would have bought that card in 2020, because now it's way more. I don't think that's going to stop. Eric makes a great point of some of these older guys, these vintage guys.
Absolutely.
Bob Gibson's another one. Just when all these really old timers that are in their 80s, they start passing away, they are going to die at some point. Hank Aaron's not immortal, and their stuff's just going to go nuts. And I'm glad I have a Hank Aaron rookie already, right? Joe, you have one too, which I got to give props to Joe. his video where he did his best card in his collection from every year from 1952 to 2020 was fantastic. It was, you and I were talking about it, Joe, before you did it. Remember, we were, what was it, yesterday, day before, whatever. And you were telling me about it. I'm like, oh my God, it's such a good idea. Do I have your permission to go do that? Can I go do that with my collection? Would you like to see? Would you like to see what my best card is from every year? I
think that would be awesome.
51, and that's because that's 70 years exactly, 51 to 2020. And I think my best 2020 card is the Nick Solak that I got the other day, rookie card. I don't have much 2020, so because I just burned it. I just burned all my 2020, so I don't have any more. That's an inside joke for a lot of people in the community that know what that's all about. So everybody's saying, please do. Okay, so Joe, great idea. I think we should try to get more people to show that. I just think it's a really, really neat idea. Ty, have you seen that video yet? You got to go.
No, I'm going to go check it out. I can't wait to see it.
Joe has an amazing collection to begin with. And he had some pretty random stuff in there. It's pretty terrific.
Yeah, the best card that I had for 1998 Topps was Scott Brocious, but it was the only card I had. It was the only card I could find. The 90s were real bad. Like I don't have anything from the 90s. Just total, just black hole for my collection.
All right. So Eric says we need to expand beyond MLB.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, so. Maybe
let's talk hockey.
Hockey, basketball.
Gretzky played once.
Maybe we'll have to do another video next week where we talk about other.
Can you guys hang with the basketball talk or no football? What do you want to talk about?
I love the sports. I can't talk about it in relation to the hobby, or. I feel like an idiot. So,
by the way, I think Greg's post right there is another good point about there's going to be so much stuff hitting the market from all the grading issues. Like when all these hundreds, I mean, I've talked about the PSA. A PSA had 1 million card backlog, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
The heck, man! Like those cards are going to flood the market, and it's going to be.
PSA is a disaster. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable how much of a disaster they are. I submitted an order 4 weeks ago. Remember, I don't know if you guys saw, Mike, you think you might have seen it. I did a video of my friend's like treasure trove of cards. I submitted the day after I did that video. They haven't even logged it in their system yet.
Yikes.
It's kind of scary. I mean, they're such a mess. I called them and they were like, yeah, well, it takes us 3 to 4 weeks to enter it into the system.
Oh, jeez.
3 to 4 weeks to enter it into to just let me know that you have it. And it's, you know what, it's been 4 weeks and they still so it's been over 4 weeks now and they still haven't answered. So they couldn't even meet their 3 to 4 week enter it into their system deadline.
Did y'all get the email from Steve Sloan the other day?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sorry.
So I read it. He's talking about how much they're expanding their ability to do cards. They're working on weekends. They're hiring more people. I hit the link for the jobs that are open at Collectors Universe, the parent company for PSA. And you could be a grader if you wanted to. You could go be a customer service specialist. You could be this was the one that fascinated me. If I didn't have a job right now, this would be kind of a fun job. That probably wouldn't pay anything and I wouldn't want to live in California, but to be a card researcher, like to get the card and find out what card it is. And it'd be fun to go, if you could just name it by just looking at it, you don't even have to research it, but they have all these jobs listed trying to expand their staff to deal with all the demand. Right. But I am seeing card orders come back. Like there's a lot, they're unjamming the system, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because I'm seeing so many reveals, people are just getting flooded with their orders back because I think there is some expansion in their capacity, certainly not to the level it needs to be, but and you're right, Ty, the market is going to get flooded with Jordan Alvarez rookies, PSA 10s, and
right. Well, That's what I love about vintage is that they're not going to get flooded with Hank Aaron rookies. They're going to get flooded with Pete Alonso rookies and Yordan Alvarez rookies and
Bat down Acuñas and
Acuñas. And that's why I don't. Maybe it's the way that I collect, but like I don't really fear the baseball card market just collapsing, because the cards that I have money invested in, they're all very short. Like there's only so many of these types of cards. But what I would worry about if I'm a collector is, cards that there's just thousands, millions of them, that there's nothing special about them at all. Those are the cards that I don't see any long-term. And when the market collapses, those will be the cards that become worthless. So anyway.
Yeah. Ty, tell them about your video. If people haven't gone to see your video that you did, it was fantastic. Talking about SGC and PSA. It was, I think it was your crazy card chart.
Yeah.
Episode 3.
Yeah, check it out. It was only 10 minutes long. Yeah. So I looked at the data between BGS and PSA this month in NBA cards. And it's interesting, right? During COVID-19, you saw the gap closing. There was like 55% PSA cards sold versus 45% BGS 9.5s. And it's because obviously Beckett had their stuff in order. And then all of a sudden you fast forward to this week and it's like a 78-22%.
Wow.
All PSA cards, all the PSA cards have flooded the market, and BGS dropped off the map because of that, right? Relatively speaking. But I was also showing how it's funny because you get this cardboard gold card savers, right? I would buy them all the time on Amazon for $20 for a box of 200, and they're sold out everywhere. Like every spot is sold out, from Blowout to Steel City to to eBay. They're going for $70 on eBay, 3x the price in 1 month. Like you can't find the card savers. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, I heard that the same thing with top loaders, because I remember at right before COVID-19 hit, I was recommending people to buy top loaders to give themselves something to do. Like, Joe, the top loaders of you said it was only $60. It's now like $200.
It's crazy.
I didn't know that was going to become a thing.
And now I'm seeing, SGC got flooded with orders because of the backlog at PSA. But now everybody's bitching about SGC because their orders that were 30 days are now taking 45 and 50. It's like, well, no kidding, right? I mean, who expected anything different? Why is that a surprise to anyone that SGC now can't keep up with the demand for their service? Right. Give me a break. I mean, it's like any highway. It can only take so many cars, right? And if not, you get a traffic jam. If it has more than that, then it can handle in any given period of time. And so you got a traffic jam at SGC now. And so things are going to get delayed.
Would you guys ever buy an SGC credit card?
Not on purpose.
There's an SGC credit card?
No, graded card. Would you buy an SGC graded card? You have some, don't you, Joe? SGC grades?
Couple. They're all like old school vintage,
which is what they're good at, which is what they're known for. Right.
But it's gotten to the point now where if I'm going to submit, I might have to go something other. I mean, PSA is just. I mean, I honestly don't know if I'll ever see my cards again. I have no idea if they even have it. So I don't feel comfortable sending any more cards to them right now. They just don't. I don't feel like they have their. Eventually, they'll get their act back together. Just right now, it scares me. So
yeah, there's a lot of solutions that they're trying to implement, and we'll see. It's a mess. There's no question. What else do we want to talk about?
I got a question for you. If you had to take one Bitcoin or the equivalent, so $9,000 in Zion Williamson silver cards, which one do you take?
I have no idea.
I would take the Zion cards.
Well, how much is a Bitcoin?
9,000.
Yeah.
He said you could either have $9,000
And
one
Zion.
or $9,000 worth of Zion. I would take the Zion cards.
Yeah, it'd be more fun, I think, to own the Zion. Just I like to gamble. Probably do that too.
What's crazy though, right? You get basically 3 Zions for that now. 3 PSA 10 Zions. Stupid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all I keep hearing about is that the basketball cards have like they're like, well, if you think baseball's gone crazy, you should see what's going on with basketball right now. So, and I dabble a little bit. You might know more about it, Ty, but that's all. That's all here.
That is definitely my world. I'm much more oriented towards basketball, but yeah.
All right, so Joe, we'll finish with this. You like to be a gambler, right? You're a gambler.
Yes.
And God willing,
you know what? I just want to be careful with that because I like to gamble, but I like it when the odds are in my favor.
Of course. Well, sure. Then it's not much of a gamble.
I'm actually a pretty big sore loser. So that's why I don't like to gamble because I get angry like if I lose a lot. So so I like to gamble on things where I feel like, like if that's why I like to play craps, because from what I understand, it's one of the games that you have the best odds of winning, as opposed to like I would never play the slots because that's like the least odds of like.
Well, let me throw this out there to you.
Better odds, I'd probably play the slots.
I want to throw this out there to you, Ty. If you want to get on this after I say it, you feel free. We're going to pick a team to win. You just have to pick a team. So I'm a Rangers guy. So I'm American League West. You're American League East. Ty, you're Kansas City. So you're AL Central, right?
Yep.
So we each have one division that we get to pick. And we're going to pick the winner of that division. I'll bet, and we'll do $100. So when we go to the national, okay, because God willing, there's a national. If we're all three, if there is a national, the 3 of us will be there, and $100 per person. So if you pick your division winner, you're going to pick it right now. Let's say you pick the Yankees and they win a division, and I pick the Rangers and they don't. Well, then I would buy you $100 worth of cards at the National. I'm not going to give you $100. I'm going to buy you cards that you want.
Nice.
At the National. Does that sound like a fun bet?
Sure.
So when the Yankees win their 28th championship this year, you buy me $100 worth of cards?
Just the division. They just have to win their division. They don't even have to win the World Series.
Oh.
So we get one pick. We have to pick one team to win their division.
One team out of your home division, which each of us have one of each of the 3 different divisions.
I wonder what I'm going to go with.
Are we each taking our home team? I feel like we
No. You can pick which team you think is going to win the division. I'm going Astros in the West. The Cheaters. I'm going Cheaters.
I'm going Royals out of the Central just because they're worth more than $100 to me.
Should I change to the Rangers then?
Out of the Central just because they're worth more than $100 to me.
Who's got their? Who's watching that?
I'm good.
That's not me.
Okay, that was weird.
That was weird. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say Joe wins, the Yankees win, both of us lose our bets. We each owe Joe $100 in cards. And vice versa. Now if we all pick the right winners, then it's just a wash. It just kind of sucks, but it'll be fun to see and have something to root for. I'm in. Cool. All right. Yankees for Joe. Actually, I'm going to switch. I'm going Angels for the American League West. I'm going to go Angels. God, that's such a bag pick, but I'm going to pick it. And
you guys have some balls.
And
Angels and Royals?
I'm going Angels just to win the West. I just need them to win the West. I don't need them to win the World Series.
They're not going to win the West.
Well, then I'll owe you $100.
I almost want to take Boston just to make it really fun.
Oh man, I love this. All right,
I'm in. Yeah, I'll stick Royals.
I love you guys. Thank you.
With the thank you for buying new cards, could you think this is a sucker bet that we just totally?
I almost feel guilty that I'm taking the Yankees.
You don't have to take the Yankees. You can take the Blue Jays or the Orioles. They could.
No, I have to. I gotta take my team.
If the Orioles beat the Yankees in the division, I'm going to laugh my ass off. I'm going to. I'm going to spend that $100 that you give me. Well, the thing that sucks is I don't win unless my team wins too, right? So if we all three don't win, then nobody, this was the last 5 minutes of our lives has been wasted talking about this, but and everyone listening to us. But so Angels, Royals, Yankees, $100. Thanks, Joe, for coming on Bench Clear with us, man.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Hey, tell all your friends to come join the Bench Clear world and come check us all out. We got a bunch of channels. We're going to be adding some more people soon. And
cool.
Not you, but
your collection's too good.
You're too highfalutin for us over there in New Jersey. But Ty, thanks, man.
Yeah, guys. Have a good night.
Right. Y'all be good. Watch some baseball. Let's look forward to it. We'll catch you guys later. Joe, you can send us off with your traditional.
Thanks for watching, guys.
So powerful.
Just making it. Bye.
All right, guys. See y'all later.
See ya.